Good morning. I'm Brad Edwards here from CBS News Chicago. Thank you for joining us on the stream on this Friday. Got a special day today, some special coverage we are about to undertake here on the stream. It is the release of CPD officer Danny Golden, of course critically wounded in July, breaking up a bar fight in Beverly. From then, he's made a remarkable, by all accounts, recovery. Released from the hospital to the Shirley Ryan AbilityLab, where he has undergone some intensive number of a few weeks in physical therapy. Today, sometime around now, he is expected to be released to the awaiting crowd. As you can see, their family, friends, a lot of officers. Let's take that shot full, if we could, please, at the Shirley Ryan AbilityLab. There you see it. Officers, friends, clad in golden T-shirts. Officer Golden again was shot, critically wounded on 7/9, July 9th, 6 weeks ago, around 2:30 a.m. at a tavern near 104th and Western. He was breaking up a fight that was all captured on Ring video. He ended up then being shot in the spine. That shot was lodged in his chest. That there is another wounded CPD officer, Ella French, who died in the line of duty. That is her partner. He was shot in the eye. Carlos Yanez Jr. Quite remarkable. Well, weren't sure what we were going to see. Of course, a lot of what we do here on the stream is extemporaneous, but to see him there is something else. Carlos Yanez Jr., who nearly lost his life trying to apprehend multiple suspects. His partner, Ella French, did lose her life in that arrest. He's one of those in attendance today. You see some white shirts. That's what they're called by the rank and file. Those are the higher-ups, the titles, the lieutenants, etc.
It'll go slowly.
Not any familiar faces there, at least to me, but familiar certainly to those there. You see a bagpiper in the background. Quite a display here for an officer who was wounded breaking up that fight on 7/9, critically wounded, shot in his spine, lodged in his chest. Let's go to video, if we could, of his release from the hospital. Actually, let's bring that down. I believe we are about to see, there he is. Officer Danny Golden in a wheelchair, but wheeling himself. Something right there. One wounded officer to another. That exchange of hugs. Family. Mother there is also an ER nurse. The officer, one of the 7 siblings. Some misty eyes and an army of hugs. Certainly nice to see that smile. Officer Danny Golden critically wounded on the 9th of July, breaking up a bar fight off duty. Shot in the back, bullet in his spine, lodged in his chest. It was touch and go, we were told, in the initial moments and hours. But within a week, he was released from Advocate Christ Medical Center, transferred to Shirley Ryan AbilityLab, where they work miracles on a daily basis. You see some staff there, big hug from appears to be someone in potentially nurse's garb, maybe some physical therapist. So we're expecting, following this, police are going to escort Officer Golden home. We're going to try to follow that with Chopper 2 from the Shirley Ryan AbilityLab in Streeterville, Lakeshore Drive onto the Dan Ryan. Supporters are lining the streets in Bridgeport, Canaryville, Beverly, where the shooting took place, Mount Greenwood. Those are a lot of blue neighborhoods as well, if you will. Blue, not as in Democrat, but blue as in those who wear the uniform. A lot of police officers and firefighters, and another ovation there. All right, so our camera is on the move there. Let's take a look if we can. We'll keep an eye on this. Could we put this in one box and then go to a second box of when Officer Golden was released from the hospital? There's a picture of him. There he was, to saluting officers, being released from Advocate Christ Medical Center, that on July 15th. Come a long way since then. He was in a gurney when he was released from the hospital. It was 6 days after being shot and critically wounded. Let's go back to Shirley Ryan AbilityLab, if we could, please. There we go. A lot of support. GoFundMe has so far raised more than $1.4 million for his family, for his recovery. He's going home today, but it is a long road back. Talking with some officers, you just never do know. You don't know the prognosis so often, a return to work, etc. But the fact that he is here on this day, so soon seemingly after being critically wounded on July 9th, these are certainly good signs. Big sigh of relief there. He can soon take off his hospital or Shirley Ryan AbilityLab bracelet, if that's what indeed is on his right wrist, soon. Again, he'll be headed home. Supporters are already lining the streets in Bridgeport, Beverly, where the shooting took place, Mount Greenwood. We are also expecting, once he arrives home, if that indeed happens in a timely manner, we will carry a press conference live where we expect to hear from some of his family members, including Officer Golden's father. If that happens around noontime, or rather 11 a.m., it'll be in the newscast. Apparently he's enjoying a McFlurry. Nothing like some Mickey D's. I've been waiting for that for a while. Chicago through and through. So there will be a procession that they're certainly lining up. Unsure what type of escort it will be, how many vehicles involved. But there he is, Officer Danny Golden, critically wounded not so many weeks ago. Now heading home. They'll make a couple stops along the way. We will be there, though, to follow this procession. We may eventually have to switch away and let just the pictures carry themselves, as we have our team prepping, as they always do, for the 11 a.m. newscast. Kind of hard to top that. The majesty of bagpipes, mounted patrol, and a wounded CPD officer headed home on a Friday. These are good things. And that will be the procession from Streeterville now to Lakeshore. Kick it to the Dan Ryan, head south.
Yeah, there you go.
We have a number of our reporters covering this today. One of them is the ever hard-working, all hours of the day, Murrow Digwa. Mugo, are you there? Can you hear me? Can you give me a sense of the scene there? There she is.
I can hear you, Brad. Hey, Brad. Yeah, a lot of people here, dozens and dozens of people. We're talking community members, family members, as well as police officers, all here to welcome and honor Officer Golden as he heads home, going to the Beverly and Mount Greenwood area. And this is both a happy day and also a sad day. It's sort of complex, knowing that he was shot and is now paralyzed, doing something many people would consider a good thing, which was trying to break up a fight. This happened last month in Beverly, and he was shot and paralyzed, and he's been here at the Shirley Ryan AbilityLab, basically going through physical therapy, trying to get better, and now, finally, weeks later, he is heading home. And so it makes sense that police officers, his colleagues, family members, friends, and some community members showing up out here to see that moment where he was rolled out in that wheelchair, getting into the car and heading home after days and weeks of being here at the Shirley Ryan AbilityLab, trying to recuperate, trying to get a semblance of what his life is going to look like going forward. I know you talked about this earlier. This happened back in July when he was basically trying to separate a fight, trying to break up a fight. And he's been in the hospital. Days later, he was moved over here. We're still hearing some of the the police cars going by, the sirens from those police cars. You can see a line, if we can pan to the other side there, the line back there with the several sirens and everything coming out of the police cars. You can hear that sound. That's what we're hearing right now. But we know that Officer Golden is not here anymore. I don't know if you can hear me. He's not here anymore. Heading down over to the Beverly and Mount Greenwood area, which is, we believe, where he lives. His dad is expected to speak there sometime around 11 this morning. Obviously, we'll be bringing that to you once that happens. But what you saw earlier, you heard, obviously, a lot of people out here. You heard the bagpipes going off. What you saw was people trying to support this officer, who we also know he has a fiance, and she had posted on her Facebook page so many times trying to get the community to rally and support her fiance. And that's pretty much what you saw out here just a few minutes ago. People lining up, waiting to see Officer Golden basically coming out of the Shirley Ryan AbilityLab. There's also a hashtag too that I've seen on t-shirts and on signs. It's hashtag Fight Like a Golden, obviously playing off of Officer Golden's last name. Again, we know his father is expected to speak at 11, sometime around 11 this morning. We didn't see anyone speaking out here. The focus basically was seeing Officer Golden coming out of the therapy center out here. But we would want to hear what his family has to say. This must have been a very, very challenging time for them. But I'm sure there is a sense of pride, a sense of peace, seeing all the people who showed up after such a tragedy, all the people who showed up, and his fellow police officers as well. This has been planned for a while now, seeing all the people who showed up just to welcome him as he heads back home. Right now, you're still hearing those bagpipes. It's still playing. Further down, you can see them out there. Oh, just stop playing. It's always really nice when you hear that going off, because it sets a certain scene to everything that's going on, right? Because it just helps you remember the importance or how great the person they're playing that sound is. And obviously the point here was making sure that Officer Golden understands that he is loved and appreciated, and especially his co-workers, his fellow men and women in blue, they appreciate him, and all of this was put together. So a very nice scene to witness, Brad, especially seeing community members, lots of people walking around asking, what's going on? And then as soon as I say, it's a police officer who was shot and paralyzed and he's finally being released, they're so happy just to say, oh my gosh, that's great news. And, that is great news, even though his life is going to be much different after that shooting. It's great seeing that he's been released and finally going to get a semblance of being back home with family members and friends again, Brad.
Murrow, we appreciate your work. Great insight out there. Now we're going to go to what is next. We can go off of Murrow there. Maybe let's show his release. Do we have that again? Oh, wow, there we are. There is Carlos Yanez Jr. And there is former Cook County State's Attorney Anita Alvarez. Former Cook County State's Attorney Anita Alvarez and wounded CPD officer Carlos Yanez Jr. Of course, during an arrest, he lost his partner, Ella French. He too was critically wounded in that same altercation in which he lost his partner. He lost an eye. Quite a remarkable scene to see one wounded officer, Carlos Yanez Jr., there for another wounded officer, Danny Golden, as he was released today. Again, this is a moment here, talking with the former state's attorney, the one who preceded current state's attorney Kimberly Fox. It's Anita Alvarez there. Eventually, we will have chopper over this. Let's go to a shot of Lakeshore Drive and keep an eye on that for the procession. That might be it. Your guess is kind of as good as mine, but it looks like a bunch of similar cars. It's Amuga Digwe talking with once wounded officer Carlos Yanez Jr. Let's listen in.
Yesterday, you just want to be with family and the loved ones, and I'm so honored to be here, for Danny Golden and support him, because he needs to know that there's a lot of people out here supporting him, and because it's going to be rough. He's got a lot of hurdles ahead of him, and he's going to have his bad moments, and he's got a good family, a solid family. So I mean, if it had to happen to anyone, he's going to get through this,
If you had to say anything to him, and I know you were just basically giving some kind of advice, but if you had to say anything to him right now, what would you say?
That I love him, that we're here for him. And like I was saying, you're going to have your bad days, but there's so much more positivity and so much to look forward to in life that you just got to keep pushing on.
And not too long ago we saw you being wheeled out of here, and now we're seeing that with Officer Golden as well. What does that say to you about the way things are in terms of police officers who are getting shot, getting hurt? For Officer Golden, he was trying to do something good, trying to separate a fight, and then this happens. What does that say to you?
It's a terrible time that we live in right now. It's, officers are being attacked, and it's very difficult for them to do their jobs, for us to do our jobs. It's just a lot of stuff needs to change.
And I have to ask about you. How are you doing since you came out of the rehab center? How has life been?
I mean, we're still trying to find a new norm. I have my bad days, but I got my wife and my son. There's my wife right there. That's the real. She's the one that does everything. Like, she's my everything. And I don't think I'd be here if it wasn't for her.
And I don't want to hold you up, but what is it like for you when you were released from the rehab center? We know that, there are lots of police officers, lots of people from the community out here to see that. The same thing happening today with Officer Golden. Lots of police officers, family, friends, and community members. What does that mean? Just being able to take in that sight.
It was a whole new experience for me, because I'm seeing it from the other end, and I'm so honored to be here with all these people that are here coming to support Danny and all the officers. It's good that you see that silent majority finally coming out and speaking their voice, and their voices be heard. We so need that support, for all the officers. I mean, just a simple hello and how you doing, thank you, goes a long way. I mean, that'll make an officer's day, so.
Why did you feel the need to be out here today?
It was important to me, because they were there for me, so. And every person that comes out here, it makes a difference. So I wanted to be there to support Danny Golden.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. Sorry for interrupting your conversation. Thank you.
This is my wife.
Oh, he was just talking about you. Oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. So you were just hearing, thank you. You were just hearing from Officer Carlos Yanez Jr. Not too long ago. We were out here. I don't know if you all remember. We were out here as he was being released from the Shirley Ryan AbilityLab. This was after he was shot. If you remember, he was the partner of Officer Ella French. She was killed in the line of duty while trying to do a basic traffic stop. So he had been here, released from the AbilityLab, and he just said he felt the need to be here to see and support another officer who was hurt. Now, we know that in Officer Golden's case, he was not in the line of duty. He was out at a bar over in Beverly, and we're told he was trying to basically break up a fight when he was shot. He's been paralyzed since then. We know he was in the hospital, released from the hospital, brought over here for therapy at the Shirley Ryan AbilityLab. And so Officer Yanez Jr. says he wanted to be here to see that. And the feeling of seeing that too, knowing that community members, fellow police officers show up to support them after such a difficult and a grueling time in their lives. It means a lot being able to see that. And he did the same thing, paid it forward, and also showed up to support Officer Golden as well, Brad.
Remarkable get, Murrow. Thank you. Job well done. And we do remember your coverage of his release. It was actually 1 year ago this very month that Carlos Yanez Jr. was shot, critically wounded himself, lost an eye, life forever changed in an arrest in which he lost his partner, Ella French. Remarkable to see him there 1 year later to wish a fellow officer the best. You're looking at Lakeshore Drive right now. That is the procession. The procession leading Officer Danny Golden home. Murrow brought up a great point too. There is a tremendous juxtaposition. We don't want to be too Pollyanna or too rose-colored glasses about this. Fact remains that a young man, Officer Danny Golden, is paralyzed. So while there may be a lot of pomp today, it is a long road ahead, the road of life. But today we watch the road literally home. We're live with Chapter 2. It'll be tricky to cover this in the totality, to be honest. With the Air and Water show, there's what they call a TFR, a temporary flight restriction, no-fly zone in many areas immediately in Chicago and the Lakeshore because of the Air and Water show. But there you can see Lakeshore Drive right now. Leading Officer Danny Golden home. Murrow also brought up the hashtag Fight Like a Golden, playing his name, and I'm also told there's a bit of a play too on his love of dogs. Fight Like a Golden. We saw a couple dogs there at the reunion scene. And his fiancée, who has been there steadfastly for the past 6 weeks, the family raising more than $1.4 million. Golden is a U.S. Army veteran, third generation Chicago police officer, his father, whom we expect to hear from once they arrive home. Says of his son, he's as tough as they come and ready for the road ahead. That road ahead is both figurative and literal today as we lose direct eyesight. Though we do have eyes on the procession home. We'll go from Lakeshore, then we'll hop on the Dan Ryan, head south. Supporters lining the streets in Bridgeport, Canaryville, Beverly, Mount Greenwood, 19th Ward Alderman Matt O'Shea's office, selling t-shirts, yard signs. That is definitely an enclave where many of Chicago's finest reside. South Side neighborhoods. And I believe we see potentially the beginning of the procession here. And again, as we prepare to go back to Murrow for the 11 a.m. newscast, eventually we're going to kick this over and you can just watch it as it happens. And the pictures certainly speak for themselves in many ways. Been a heck of a fight. From off-duty, breaking up a bar fight, critically wounded, shot in his spine, bullet lodged in his chest, paralyzed from the waist down. Then to his release from Advocate Grace Medical Center a week later. Now, seemingly, for those who were on the scene that night, said it was as dire as it could be. A rather remarkable recovery early on. Yes, Officer Golden is paralyzed, but he is headed home. Again, once they do get home, we believe we're going to hear from Officer Golden's family, including his father. They're setting up that press conference right now, traffic depending. We'll see when we get there. But we will close out this special coverage. Again, you can keep on watching. They're just going to cut me off as we switch over to newscast mode. We'll close it out with the words of Officer Carlos Yanez Jr., wounded himself, and there today for another wounded officer. He said, make an officer's day. Say hello. Say thank you. We certainly thank the men and women in blue today during this poignant ceremony, and we thank you for streaming with us. Now we'll let the pictures take over as we switch gears in 25 minutes, a live newscast, the latest again with Murrow, and we've got a reporter on the scene at his home as he arrives home. Officer Danny Golden headed home.
Danny's father, and we're just totally humbled by the support from this area. I can't say enough. Totally humbled. Everybody that's shown up and that's helped him out, has prayed for him, showed him support over the last month and a half is just incredible. Just incredible. I've never seen this before in my life, and our family's just truly humbled.
You guys have lived in this community for your whole life. How was it to see all your neighbors come out in numbers?
Incredible. I'm blown away about the support. People I haven't seen in 10, 15, 20 years. Since he graduated from Queen of Martyrs Grammar School. They showed up, and it's just amazing to see him, and it's such a, it touches your heart. It really does. This community is unbelievable. Beverly, Mount Greenwood is just, they've come out and they've really thrown themselves into Danny's cause, and we're truly blessed. We're truly blessed.
How is he? What did he think of it?
He's blown away. He smiles from ear to ear. He's in great spirits. He's still in a lot of pain. But this takes away some of the pain. I really believe that.
Do you think seeing this is the motivation that he needs to just continue moving forward and progressing?
Oh, he's determined that this is not going to keep him down. He's determined to live his life to the fullest and just keep on pushing. And I know he's getting married in October of 2023, and his goal is to walk down the aisle with his bride. So we're praying. We're praying for. All we need is a miracle, like Ellen Michaels said in the hockey movie. You know, do you believe in miracles? And I do. I do believe in miracles.
The fact that so many people from all walks of life have lines 103rd to celebrate your son, what does that tell you about this community?
This community is unbelievable. Unbelievable that you see people come out, young, old, veterans, students, the different high schools, college. St. Xavier's football team was out there cheering them on. It's incredible. It truly is. It just goes to show you that the South Side is unbelievable. I'm truly impressed.
What is Yanez looking forward to doing now that he's home?
You know, I think he's going to continue his education. He wants to go back, and he's talking about getting a master's degree, which is incredible. So continue your education and just keep on moving on. I'm very proud of him.
You know, master's degree and what's your...
Oh, it's up to him. You know, hey, I'm only his father. He has to make up his own choices what he wants to do. But I'm so proud of him. So proud of him.
What's the plan between now and October for the big day?
You know, we're just going to take one day at a time. One day at a time and see what happens. He has to settle in with his new life, the situation that he's in, and we'll go from there. But he has a great fiancée. Casey's a sweetheart. She's tough, and they'll get through this. They'll get through this.
He posted that video the other day. He was walking. Like, what was that like for you as a dad to see your dad?
I nearly felt you're going to knock me over with a feather when I seen him with the braces on and the walker. He's really determined. He did 4 years in the Army. He did 7 years here with CPD. He's a tough kid. He's very resilient, and I think with his mindset and with his spirit and his support from everybody, that he'll be fantastic. I really do.
What does his rehab regimen look like going forward?
Well, it's going to be probably about 5 hours a day. I think 5 days a week, and Monday through Friday. And they really work him. And the next thing he has to do is he has to learn how to drive a car now with his hands. I mean, he has to get certified with driving a special vehicle. So that's one of the processes.
Is the rehab going to be happening at Shirley Ryan or somewhere else?
It's right across the street from Shirley Ryan. They have another facility there, and he's going to be going to that one.
You know, I feel like we all can learn a lesson from your son and the way he's responded. What can we take away from the way that he's handled this situation?
You can't let things get you down. Some things are out of your control, and he is adapting, and he's learning how to do this, and he's gonna get through it. You know, he's gonna learn how to live a new life, a new chapter of his life, a new chapter, I should say. He'll get through it. He will, and it's just gonna take time. And there's gonna be good times. I know there's gonna be bad times, ups and downs, but I think there'll be more ups than downs. I do believe that.
I saw that he was meeting McCleary earlier today. I mean, what does he plan on doing? Is there anything that he has been wanting to do back at home or be with family? I mean, what can you tell us?
In a few minutes, we're going to be, my son, I have 6 boys. I have 1 daughter and 6 sons. And my son Patrick lives in the neighborhood here. I'm not going to give you his address. But all Danny wants is a barbecue. He says, all I want to do, nothing fancy, give me a brat and Italian sausage. And he goes, I want to see my friends and my family that supported me through this, and just to relax and say thank you to all the people that really supported him and came out. Father Tom McCarthy, St. Rita, Father Tom Hurley at Marist High School. I can't say enough about this man right here, Alderman Matt O'Shea. He's been a godsend to us and our family. Mayor Daley showed up at Shirley Ryan, and Mayor Daley visited him. That lifted Danny's spirits. I thought Dan was going to walk up and walk away when he saw Rich Daley walking down the hallway to say hello to him. There's so many people out there. Cardinal Supich paid him a visit. You talk about a man of faith. That was that was incredible for the Cardinal to take time out of his time to see him. There's so many people. If I leave somebody out, I apologize, because I can't remember who all showed up. But the unbelievable, his Army buddies who flew in to see him. Kids from Canaryville, what a lemonade stand, raising thousands of dollars. Bridgeport people, Canaryville people. He's getting letters from all over the country. I never seen anything like this in my life. People are reaching out to him. I don't know what to say. I'm very humbled. Very humbled. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.